I like signing a check. Sort of.
He's so how does he consistently give the wrong take on everything?
Well,
oh, that's also a good question. What? Sager with 3 banger questions all in a row. Good job. A+ for journalism. Damn. Did you read the whole truth soundbite? Trump, it's worse than any schizo email. He doubles down on invading Canada. Oh, I was going to answer your question before you finished, because I thought you were going to talk about the other unhinged truth that he did this morning, which was that he thought it should be illegal to boycott Tesla. Oh. Based on Ontario, Canada, placing a 25% tariff on electricity in the US, I've instructed my Secretary of Commerce to an additional 25% tariff to 50% on all steel and, I'm going to call it aluminium from now on. Fuck America, all right? On all steel and aluminium coming to the US from Canada, one of the highest tariffing nations anywhere in the world now. Did you know that? Anywhere in the world. This will go into effect tomorrow morning, March 12th. Also, Canada must immediately drop their anti-American farmer tariff of 250% to 390%. All of these provisions are in the USMCA or whatever. These are all things you already agreed to in your trade agreement. Also, excuse me, I thought we were tariffing because of fentanyl. Why are we talking about tariffs because of counter tariffs? That sounds like economic policy. I will shortly be declaring a national emergency on electricity within the threatened area. This will allow the U.S. to quickly do what has to be done to alleviate this abusive threat from Canada. What does that mean? Wait, what? We'll do what has to be done. Are we going to go steal their electricity? What's the Republican steelman on this? Republicans just don't care anymore. They're just in fantasy land. They either don't talk about it or they say it's part of some like broader plan. I don't even know. Fox News yesterday apparently wasn't even really covering it. To Republicans, conservatives, and all great Americans, Elon Musk is putting it on the line in order to help our nation, and he's doing a fantastic job. But the radical left lunatics, as they often do, are trying to illegally and collusively boycott Tesla. It's collusion now to boycott one of the world's great automakers and Elon's baby in order to attack and do harm to Elon and everything he stands for. They tried to do it to me at the 2024 presidential ballot box, but how did that work out? In any event, I'm going to buy a brand new Tesla tomorrow morning as a show of confidence and support for Elon Musk, a truly great American. This motherfucker absolutely does not know how to drive. Are presidents even allowed to drive? Are presidents allowed to drive? Get in, Jack.
This sucker's quick.
I miss him. I just want him back. I just want him back.
How does it feel? Would you buy one of these?
I would.
How does it feel to be behind the wheel, sir?
It feels great. I tell you what, these electric vehicles. Now, I don't know if it has a stopwatch, but I think if we're going 0 to 60 in about 4.3. 4.4?
Right.
4 flat?
Well,
Imagine he floors it and dies. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm just going to step on it. I'll come off at 80 miles an hour. You'll see what it is, okay? You ready?
Mr. President, can I ask you a quick question on Israel before you drive
No,
away?
you can't. Not unless you get in front of the car as I step on it. I'm only teasing.
No.
Okay, here we go.
Where is
Ready?
he? Where'd he go? My president.
all right. Our best test driver ever.
I think that was
How do we messaging it? What's even happening? Never mind. Like, I'm trying to think, like, messaging wise, because I'm just reading this thing, right? Ford's new F-150 pickup truck during a visit to Detroit, right? The idea of refitting a city to do manufacturing again, but it's for electric vehicles. So it's like a union of the past manufacturing to future technology and all that, you know, good stuff. Just kidding. We're going to mine coal again. Hell yeah. Yes. Coal. Yes. Also this, we need more. Did we run out of Mission Impossibles or something? Do we need more movies to show us what bad guys look like? Because every single thing Trump's doing is like, obviously this is like he's the most bad guy coded person ever. Like, you can't get more bad guy coded than just the way that he f***ing talks.
We've been treated very unfairly by Canada.
We've been treated very unfairly by Mexico. But we've been treated very unfairly by every country all over the world. The European Union is horrible, horrible. And we're going to get it back. And I have a choice. I could just coast, and eventually there'd be a blow-up.
Did you ever watch Sam Harris's interview about, or with Scott Adams about Trump? Wait, did Sam Harris interview Scott Adams? Did we ever watch that? That's got to be insane.
Down the road, maybe a long way. But we owe $36 trillion, and we're going to get it back. We're the biggest, we're the best, and I'm very optimistic. I have to tell you,
Back in 2016?
Okay,
we might have watched that one point.
The country. Much more optimistic this way than if I did it the easy way.
Yeah.
I could have done it the easy way. I could have coasted. Biden left us a mess. He left us tremendous inflation, tremendously high costs of products. He left us a mess, but he also left us a mess with millions of people that poured into our country that are criminals.
Oh, Elon, we got the
Millions
kid.
of those
Yes.
people happen to be criminals. And we're looking for them all over the place. We're looking for them. And Holman and Christie are doing an incredible job. But he left us a horrible situation, and we're changing it. But one of the things we're changing is we're going to make our country really wealthy again. We're going to bring our jobs back. Right now, we're like a chicken that's being plucked at from all over the world. We're not going to let that happen anymore.
Mr. President,
But very importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire, Ukraine, ceasefire, just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also. And we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000-3,000
young men,
soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes.
4,000.
I get the reports. And they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on and people are going to get killed. Lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. President, you mentioned the ups and downs in the stock market. You said it'll go up, it'll go down. But do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil?
No, I think Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad. If anything, I have a lot of very smart people, friends of mine and great businessmen. They're now investing because of what I'm doing. Because long term, what I'm doing is making our country strong again. Financially strong, militarily strong, and strong if we want to get away. Remember this, we have wars. When I left, we had no wars. We didn't have Ukraine and Russia. We didn't have October 7th. We didn't have that disaster that took place with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And you look at what's happened there. We caught the major terrorists, which Biden would have caught. Why didn't he catch him? I caught him. 5 weeks into the presidency, I caught the man responsible for Abigail. And he's going to pay hell right now. He's a bad dude. He's a bad guy. But we didn't have these problems. I had no inflation. I had a great economy. He gave you high prices. You couldn't buy bacon. You couldn't buy anything. And also, I inherited a situation with eggs. The price of eggs was through the roof. Well, now the price of eggs has come down a lot. Interest rates have come down. Gasoline prices have come down. It's all coming down. It's all a beautiful thing. I can do it the right way or the wrong way. We're doing it the right way. And I have tremendous confidence in this country and the people of this country. Tremendous confidence. Much more so than if I sat back for 4 years and had a good time in the Oval Office. I want to look at cars.
I have an announcement. Very helpful.
You mentioned the Ontario.
I want to say, as a function of the great policies of President Trump and his administration, and as an act of faith in America, Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years. Double.
Big deal.
now that there are no laws in America, how would you best go about completely selling out? I don't want to work anymore. I don't know, bro. I'm going to try to skip my tax payment this year. We'll see what happens.
Else in the world. So we spend $200 billion a year subsidizing Canada. We don't have to do that. And frankly, the way that gets solved is Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tariff problem. They don't have much. They spend very little, as you know, the least of almost anybody on military. And we spend the most of anybody on military. We have a great military. I rebuilt the military during my first time. We're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. Not that much.
How many times do you have to keep rebuilding?
A little bit again.
Okay.
But Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low tax nation because of me, because they cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax.
But just to be
It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Rah." Well, when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation,
Wait, what?
of Canada and the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. It's so
He absolutely got this talking point from Putin. I don't believe this came from anybody in the U.S. that the borders between Canada and the U.S. are unnatural. That must have come from Putin somehow. Who in the U.S. has ever...
Plus Greenland.
And then if you add Greenland, that's even. That's pretty
It's
good.
going to look beautiful.
Okay? I'm going to look at this. I'm going to make a decision. Do you want to hear what my decision is?
Let's see it.
Okay. What's your best of these cars? What do you think?
Well, the car that I drive is the Model S flat.
Which is that one?
The red one in the middle.
I like that. Yeah.
0 to 60.
God, this is so fucking cringe, dude.
They're going to be using it. I'm not allowed to use it. That's the fast one.
Just to be clear, sir, the 50%, is that going to go into effect on Canada or not?
Which one?
The 50% tariffs?
I'll let you know about it.
Okay.
But I appreciated his call. Whoa. Can I get in?
Get in. Have you ever sat behind the steering wheel of one of these? Of a Tesla?
You want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. They said, I'm not biting. I don't need notes.
I'll take a look. I can take that.
Let me get into this. Oh, what Secret Service?
I mean, if you actually drove it around, they're
Oh, that's beautiful.
I have no idea what the fuck this is doing. Constant combinator. Signals. Output.
Did you start it?
5K, 5K. Oh, this is what it's outputting.
I saw Biden do a test loop here once in the Jeep.
Oh my god. Is he gonna drive? He's like, wait, how do you go forward again?
The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
20 times greater. Our GDP is gonna multiply by 20.
And what do you say to
You
Americans?
look at what I've said over the last 10 years. Trump has been right all the time. This is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again. You know, to make it great, you have to have jobs, you have to have factories, you have to have...
We had no jobs and no factories before Trump came into office.
He was the worst president in the history of our country.
The worst.
Nothing was happening. Nothing. He had no idea what was going on. Our country went to hell. And then to allow millions of people to come in that are prisoners and mental
asylums.
All of the things. Gang
Haitians.
members, drug lords.
Did you say Haitians?
We're
He didn't say
shutting them
that.
all down now, trying to get them out of our country. And we're going to do that. But on the financial end and the economic end, what we're doing is, to me, it's the most exciting. Our country will be greater than ever before, and it won't take too long.
And what's your message to Americans right now, sir, who are worried about the stock market? What's your message to them as they watch it?
Let's go see the stock. I did buy one of these.
Yeah. This is bulletproof.
Oh, bulletproof.
Look.
I mean, look.
Of imagination. I think I have a great imagination. Yeah. Who else but this guy would design this, and everybody on the road is looking at it. It's amazing, actually. As soon as I saw it, I said, that is the coolest design. It's, do you agree with that, Brian? I mean,
I do.
It's amazing.
Very cool. Yeah.
You gotta
Oh my
give him
God.
credit.
We want the future to look like the future, and it's kind of what kind of truck would Blade Runner drive? That was the design idea.
It's really amazing.
What kind of car would Blade Runner drive? I don't know. What would Blade Runner do, guys?
Yeah. Let's go,
We should.
Johnny Blade.
Your thoughts on the market?
Well, we got the Cybercab coming out next year.
The Cyber Cab.
You're gonna buy one of those? We'll pass. We're too old for that.
So, Mr. President, when you look at the market selling off, that didn't concern you? And
Nope.
where do you see
Doesn't
Nope.
concern me.
Didn't give a fuck.
I think some people are going to make great deals by buying stocks and bonds. And
Yeah, did you even stop and think about the deals?
I think we're going to have.
Did you say some people are going to make great deals buying stocks? True. Stocks on sale, full discount.
It's a real economy, not a fake economy. It was a fake economy. They were putting in all government jobs. You see what happened last month? We had more real jobs, and government jobs are way down. That's going to continue. Those are real jobs.
Real
Those
jobs.
are jobs that keep the country going. You can't have all government jobs. You have no income to pay the workers.
True.
And a lot of those workers didn't show up to work. That was the other
They didn't even
thing.
work.
And President Trump, there's this protest leader from Columbia University that the administration is moving to deport. He said that his arrest is going to be the first.
You guys are so obsessed with the
How many?
deportation
I
stuff.
think we ought to get them all out of the country, get troublemakers.
Get
they're
all of them out.
agitators.
True.
If they don't love our country, we ought to get them the hell out. I think that guy, we ought to get him. I heard his statements too. They were plenty bad. And I think we ought to get him
They
the
were
hell out of the
plenty
country.
bad.
I watched them. I watched tapes specifically. I watched tapes. And you can have them. Okay? You can have them. And you can have the rest of them. Let them go to school. Let them learn. Columbia used to be a good school.
Used to be.
Now it's been overrun because of bad leadership.
By the
That's what
wokies.
happens to countries, and it happens to universities, and it happens to companies. And I don't want it to happen to a guy that did nothing wrong. He did everything right because he did a great company. But what he did by coming into government to help government from years of abuse, from decades of abuse, and you see that when you look at Social Security, where you have 200-year-old people on the rolls of Social. That's just.
I love how we just like tell the same fucking lies, lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, over and over and over and over and over
Large
again.
fraud. I think it's that, but I think it's also. I'm just telling people, this man is a great patriot, and you should cherish him.
And keep buying his
You
cars.
should cherish him. You know, I have a little statement. We have to take care of our high IQ people because we don't have too many of them.
Mr.
And
President,
we got to take care of them.
And as you guys look at the Social Security Administration and you guys are looking for fraud and waste and abuse, can you guarantee people who are concerned about an interruption to benefits that there will not be?
Yes, we're going to be very careful with any approach to benefits.
Yeah, very careful.
In fact,
Like over the
not only by
Ebola.
tackling the waste and fraud in entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, can we actually preserve those programs for the future? Because with unchecked fraud and waste, we won't be able to afford them. The president's very dedicated to solving the budget deficit, which if we don't solve the budget deficit, we're going to go bankrupt as a country.
True.
As a country, there's no Social Security, there's no Medicare, there's no nothing. To sort of echo what the president was saying, what really matters is moving people from jobs that are relatively low productivity in government to high productivity in the private sector, increasing the true output of products and services. That's the real economy. That's what actually enables Americans to have a higher standard of living.
Oh, okay.
That's what's happening, and that's I think you'll see the truth of that in the months to come.
And we're going to make it really much stronger by taking people that don't exist or taking people that shouldn't be there out by taking illegal aliens that are on Social Security or Medicare.
Oh, all those illegal aliens on Social Security and
By taking
Medicare.
them
Yeah.
out, we're making it much stronger. The country will be much stronger, but it's going to really be stronger economically. And when you look at what we're doing, I've been called by so many companies. Like yesterday, as you know, I had a meeting with some of the biggest tech companies in the world.
Sounds like,
And
oh,
all they're talking about.
I sound like Asmongold
IBM
True.
was there. We had a lot of them. Dell, Michael Dell was there. We had a lot of great companies, Hewlett Packard, and all they're talking about is investing in this country. They want to be sure. Don't forget, they're looking down the road 10 years and 15 years. They want to make sure we have a strong country. They're all coming in. As you know, Apple, Tim Cook, he said that he's going to invest $500 billion. In the United States. He never
That's with a
did
B.
that before. He invested in China. He's got his plants in China.
Apple has never invested
And now
in the
he's
United
got
States before.
Going to be building in the United States. And if I didn't have victory in that election, you wouldn't be doing it.
Nope.
And if I didn't say what I'm saying, and I'm being very honest, and it's much more difficult than just sitting around and having a great time. It's a very glamorous position if you want to do that. We could have kept it, but eventually bad things would have happened. This way, good things. I'm very optimistic about the country. I think we're going to have the greatest markets we've ever had, and it's going to be really fueled by what we're doing. You had to see these companies yesterday. They're investing billions and trillions.
Trillions now. Trillions now. They just got higher.
10 cents.
Mr. President, when you talk to Vladimir Putin about this ceasefire deal, do you think you need to have a conversation with him to get the Russians
I'll
to
talk
agree?
to Vladimir Putin. Yeah.
When will
I
you
want to
talk
get.
to him?
Look, that's the other.
It's 2025 and NPCs are still for Fauci mandates. If you're still afraid of a cold, even though everyone else moved on, you're more senile than POTUS 46. Bro, are you okay? No one is talking about this. Also, I'm anti-vax and anti-mask mandates now. I'm all in favor, okay? It's time for social Darwinism. Let's go.
It takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree. And I really think that would be 75% of the way. The rest is getting it documented and, negotiating land positions, etc.
So you'll talk to him this week?
I think so, yeah.
So you have a ceasefire in place on the Ukrainian side. How close do you think then you are to a total ceasefire?
Well, I hope it'll be over the
I
next
hope we're
10
close.
days. I'd like to see. I know we have a big meeting with Russia tomorrow.
Me too, dog. Me
And
too.
some great conversations hopefully will ensue. The people have done a great job. Marco Rubio's been great.
Social Darwinism, a term you picked up from the book? No, actually, but it's funny that it got brought up again in that book because the time I'd heard social Darwinism spoken about was when we were debating neo-Nazis. So it's funny that it comes up again in a book about the actual Nazis.
Steve Witkoff's been great. Michael Waltz. Every one of them. They've really stepped up. They are into it. They want to see two things.
What do they want to see?
By far, number one is death.
Yes.
The people that aren't citizens of our country, but they're people, just like you. They're people.
They're people just like us.
We also don't want to give billions and hundreds of billions.
Are they, though?
We're
Are
there for
Eastern Europeans actually people?
$350
I don't even know if they agree with that in Europe yet.
And there was no reason this war would have never happened if I was president. So it's a very sad thing. Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy?
What did you
buy?
Tesla.
And how does this work?
And I want that same color.
Are you going to put down a credit card? Elon, would you take a personal check from the president?
I do it the old I give checks. Sure. I like checks.
I think his credit's good.
Do you still have access
I
to
like a check better than this modern system of all of a sudden there's money in your account, nobody knows. I like signing a check, sort of.
God, he's so just. How does he consistently give the wrong take on everything? Am I just a hater? That's a sign of being a hater. When you think every single thing somebody says is fucking retarded, that's a sign of being a deranged hater. I prefer checks over credit cards. Really?
But we're gonna, hey, and I don't want a discount. He would give me a discount. But if I do a discount, they're gonna say, "Oh, you got benefit." I don't want any discount.
What about a vanity plate?
Yeah, let's see. Truth.
All right, there it is.
Does he even know what a vanity plate is? Has he ever paid for plates in his entire life?
He downloads his playlist. That one got you by surprise.
Playlist gets downloaded as well. You can pump your music.
You can do it.
Oh, pump your music, bro.
You can do anything.
Mr. President, if you buy a Tesla, will
Oh, no.
Tesla sales and
The dreaded accidental selfie cam. Oh, never mind. That was intentional. Go Trump.
when somebody's a great patriot, they shouldn't be hurt. He's a great patriot. He didn't know me from Adam until we met a little bit when I was in my first term, but he came out, he endorsed me very strong, and I admired that and respected it.
Okay. Is there a press conference right now? We can... Our favorite propaganda lady.
Business leaders are so eager and encouraged by President Trump's return to Washington. The Senate has now confirmed 21 of President Trump's well-qualified cabinet-level nominees, far outpacing the previous administration. And looking ahead, tomorrow, the president...
What does that mean? Did Biden just not have any cabinet secretaries? Nobody got... What? I mean, Trump. I'm pretty sure Trump has had more like secretary heads of departments because of how many people quit and got fired. Jesus.
Will welcome the Taoiseach Micheál Martin of Ireland for the annual White House Shamrock ceremony. And Thursday, President Trump will welcome the NATO Secretary General for a working meeting and lunch. On the economy, February's jobs report was good news for America, particularly our manufacturing sector. The manufacturing sector gained 10,000 new jobs in just 1 month under President Trump. This rebound was led by the automobile sector.
That's not a number to brag about. What are we doing, dude?
We saw 9,000 new auto jobs created already. That is the most auto jobs added to the economy in 15 months. This was a complete turnaround from the Biden administration.
In 15 months. That's an unbelievable achievement. Congratulations, Mr. President. The most added in 15 months. In 15 months. Oh my God, unbelievable.
We were losing an average of 9,000 manufacturing jobs per month last year. Reuters is out with a report that a number of companies are now looking at expanding their presence or bringing their businesses into America because of President Trump's policies. And just moments ago, before coming out here, I saw another report by Reuters revealing that Merck has opened a $1 billion facility at its North Carolina site. This is just the latest pharmaceutical company to boost its U.S. manufacturing in lieu of President Trump's tariffs. This announcement follows Eli Lilly's plans to invest at least $27 billion to build 4 new manufacturing plants here in the United States. And Pfizer has also said it's considering moving their manufacturing overseas right here to the United States of America. As the president has said over and over again, when we purchase products made in the USA, the profits stay here, the revenue stays here, and most importantly, the jobs stay here.
Fixed pie, remember, that's that fixed pie idea. As long as somebody else is winning, it means there has to be somebody losing, which means we need to be the only winners so that we can never be the losers, right? That, like, what she just said there is just, I wonder how many, like, econ professors have killed themselves over the past month listening to, like, Trump economics. Like, why would we do business with somebody else when we could only do business with ourselves? Wouldn't that be better? So that way people aren't, like, literally stealing from us?
Purchase products made in the...
Like, imagine tomorrow Walmart announces, from now on, we are only selling products to employees. Because why the f would we let these random dipshit-ass customers come in and take advantage of our wonderful store when we could just have our own employees buying everything? That'd be great.
The USA, the profits stay here, the revenue stays here, and most importantly, the jobs stay here. And despite the globalist mainstream media's attempts to worry consumers, President Trump will not repeat the trend of past American presidents who broke their promises to the American public and smiled while they stuck a knife in the back of American workers and shipped their jobs overseas.
That is true. Trump is definitely keeping all of his promises to crash this economy with no survivors. Holy shit.
Our country has lost more than 5 million jobs and more than 90,000 factories due to devastating globalization over the last 3 decades alone. North Carolina lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs, including 60% of its furniture manufacturing jobs in the years following NAFTA. And in Michigan, globalist policies destroyed 200...
In the years following NAFTA? I'm sorry, I don't actually... Was NAFTA negotiated under Clinton? How old is that? What? In 94. Thank you. Okay. Jesus.
150,000 jobs, including 40% of the auto industry. These are harrowing statistics that represent countless towns and families who have been completely destroyed. But the America-last globalist era is ending under President Trump. He will no longer allow our country and our workers, our hard-working American families, to be ripped off. On another very important issue for the president, he continues to work hard to secure the border. If you missed it yesterday, CBP launched an enhanced home mobile app with a new feature, the Intent to Depart, which offers unlawfully present aliens or those aliens whose parole has been revoked an orderly and defined process to notify the U.S. government of their intent to depart the country. The CBP home app strengthens our mission to secure the border and provides illegal aliens with a straightforward way to leave now before facing much harsher consequences later. A new report from Bloomberg just found that the number of aliens trying to reach our country by traveling through the jungle to Central America dropped a whopping 99% last month. And this follows the incredible news that illegal border crossings plummeted
99%.
last month as well, down 94% at our southern border from last February under the Biden administration. As President Trump made clear during his historic address to Congress, we must finish this job and continue to carry out the largest deportation campaign in American history. And that is why the president fully endorses the continuing resolution that is before Congress and was negotiated by Speaker Johnson. He is encouraging all Republicans to vote yes on this clean...
I think... Hold on, I'm thinking if I would retire or if I would just do video games and history streams. If the Democrats support the continuing resolution without any input at all, as in they're just like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and vote for it for the America or whatever. I think that might be my red line for the Democrat Party. I might be like, all right, I'm out, guys. It's been fun. This is fucking retarded. Unless it's like a really good, super good reason for without even having input on it. You should make Trump own that statement. I have a popular mandate from the people. You have a majority in Congress. They can't get it through the Senate. So make them own it. You have the popular mandate. Rule with it. Go ahead.
CR, which freezes funding at current levels and will prevent the Democrats from getting their long-awaited government shutdown. Voting against this CR will hurt the American people and kill the incredible momentum that President Trump has built over the past 51 days.
Thank God.
And
Please.
lastly, before I take questions, I would like to commend the Washington
Whatever
Post,
this
who I
momentum
believe
is,
in the room
stop
today.
it.
According to a new report from Axios, the Washington Post is overhauling their
And it
newsroom
is momentum. Remember.
structure. It appears that the mainstream media, including the Post, is finally learning that having disdain for more than half of the country who supports this president does not help you sell newspapers. It's not a very good business model. And that's why we have people in our new media seat. And today we have Sargar Anetti, who is the host of Breaking Points, a popular political YouTube news and podcast show.
Wait, is that really his name? I thought it was Sagar.
And today we does not help you sell newspapers. It's not a very good business model. And that's why we have people in our new media seat. And today we have Sargar Anetti, who is the host of Breaking Points, a popular political YouTube news and podcast show that is
Oh my God, bro.
racked up nearly 1 billion views on YouTube, several hundred million podcast downloads since its launch in June 2021. He's also a former member of the White House Correspondents Association, but is now a part of the thriving independent.
How do they fit in their minds that we were America last, a country in decline, with the fact that we maintained the status as the richest, most powerful country on earth? I don't know, bro. It's unbelievable. Like, imagine you're Jewish and you're looking at America, right? And Israel's the promised land. Israel is nothing. Israel is such a fucked... Isn't it described as like a land of milk and honey? And they literally had to fight wars in the north to bring water to their fucking deserted or desert, arid, no natural resource having fucking piece of shit strip of land. Meanwhile, the United States of America, every year we're discovering huge reserves of new resources. We got oil, we got rare earths, we got people and tons of land, and we got oceans, we got geographic advantage, we got... Jesus Christ.
Media. We're very happy to have you with us here today. Why don't you kick off our briefing? Thank you.
Really appreciate you having me, Caroline. A couple of questions for you, if I may.
Couple questions. Okay. Is Trump more of a deep throat kind of guy, or...
First is first on the stock market. So currently it's the 25th anniversary today of the dot-com bubble crash. There's a lot of concern for a lot of Americans right now about the state of the economy. President Trump has refused to rule out a recession. Secretary Lutnick, however, has told us there will not be one. So can the White House just tell and assure Americans today that there's not going to be a recession?
Well, there's a lot to unpack.
You know what? I fucking hate Sagar. I hate this motherfucker with all my heart, okay? That was a really good question, though. Good job, okay? No suck-ups, and it was a tough question. That was a critical question. I would have bet a lot of money with big odds against him ever asking a question like this. So good job.
Back there. So let me start by saying that, first of all, when it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President...
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I don't like that answer. That's like you're going to show your parents your report card over, like, before you guys look at this, okay? This is just the quarter grades, all right? Remember, it's the semester ones that are the important ones, okay? It's just the quarter grades, all right? And we've only had like 2 assignments so far. So, you know, just so you know, before you look at this, okay?
Numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President Trump has said, and I'm here to echo the remarks of this president of this White House, we are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster. Several statistics to point out. The delinquency rate on credit card loans increased 63% under Joe Biden, hitting a near 12-year high. Under Joe Biden, all net job growth went to foreign borders.
Delinquency rate hit a 63% increase. Well, what was that? Was that down from during COVID when literally nobody was, or was that up from COVID when nobody was even fucking spending? What do you mean? I love COVID. God, COVID has just been so much fun. It's like, you want to make some crazy fucking stats? Let's go to fucking 2020, 2021, and let's see what we can manufacture. Whew.
Born Americans. Real wages declined by 1.5% under Joe Biden. And as we all know, and this administration continues to combat, prices soared more than 20% under Joe Biden because of his reckless spending and economic policies. So we are in a period of transition from that economic nightmare under a president who had no idea what he was doing, never held a private sector job in his life, into a golden age of American manufacturing under a businessman and a deal maker in chief. And
has Trump ever had a private sector job in his entire life? I thought Trump has always just been, not to be too Marxist here, but hasn't Trump always just been like an owner? Has he ever like been an employee? Hello?
And President Donald J. Trump, who will be implementing.
Except for he did work for McDonald's for one day. True. My bad. Okay.
Is implementing the formula that we know works. Look at President Trump's results in his first term. If people are looking for certainty, they should look at the record of this president. That's why the American people reelected him back to this office. And look at everything that President Trump has already done and his team has already done in just 51 days. The massive efforts to deregulate, tax cuts, which we need Congress to pass the Trump economic agenda, the Trump tax cuts, which will unleash economic growth. And the president also addressed this directly, I will point out as well, when you look at what he said on Air Force One. And he said he wants the American people to have so much money in their pockets they don't even know what to do with it. That's the intent of this administration, and we're working very hard every day.
We're not going to know what to do with it because we're not going to be able to fucking buy anything.
On that goal.
Second question on the CR. So President Trump came out today in a primary challenge against Congressman Thomas Massie. Congressman Massie's been a supporter of DOGE. He's been a supporter of Make America Healthy Again. What kind of message is this White House sending against a congressman who's sticking up for principles that he's long held?
Jesus. These are tough questions.
In the chamber and voting against continuing resolution and spending.
I think the president has made.
And this is one of Trump's biggest, well, I say problems. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. A lot of things that I call problems are just me like being like, oh, this is maybe like illegal or kind of authoritarian or whatever, but it's effective leadership, I guess. Yeah, but this Trump, no! Sorry, I wasn't supposed to. I just wasted the science that I just fucking spelled some handcrafting. Hold on, just kidding. Trump, yeah, this relentless witch hunting of everybody that doesn't 100% toe the line is Jesus.
Very clear that he believes it's critical for conservatives and Republicans and frankly all members of Congress to get behind this continuing resolution to keep the government funded. The president wants to continue the momentum that he has built over the last 51 days. In order to keep the government funded, we got to keep moving with these deportations, and he believes that everybody needs to get on board with this bill. He's been active in this process. He's been making calls to get this over the finish line, and we're urging every Republican and Democrats too to do what's right for the American public to prevent a government shutdown.
This is the last question here on Mahmoud Khalil. Does the administration believe that it needs to charge a green card holder with a crime to be eligible for deportation?
Well, in fact,
oh, that's also a good question. What? Sager with 3 banger questions all in a row. Good job. A+ for journalism. Damn.
Secretary Rubio reserves the right to revoke the visa of Mahmoud Khalil, and I'm glad you brought this up. Under the Immigration and Nationality Act, the Secretary of State has the right to revoke a green card or a visa for individuals who serve or are adversarial to the foreign policy and national security interests of the United States of America. And Mahmoud Khalil
to the foreign policy, or well, I mean, it was a little bit more specific than that, but okay.
Khalil was an individual who was given the privilege of coming to this country to study at one of our nation's.
Are these good questions? It seems like it's just giving them the opportunity to keep using their same talking points. I mean, at the very least, we get to hear an answer like on the record addressing it. These are good. These are answers, or these are questions that should be asked. Even if they have a prepared answer, these are questions that the administration should have like a public stance on. So that makes sense.
Finest universities and colleges, and he took advantage.
Remember, real quick, okay? When students come to the United States of America to study, okay, they're not the only ones that win. We win on that as well, okay? We also, it's good for us. Like, we get to take talent from around the world. Generally, these people stay here. Obviously, you know, these are some of your most productive workers or educated. Like, that's good for everybody involved.
Advantage of that opportunity, of that privilege, by siding with terrorists, Hamas terrorists who have killed innocent men, women, and children. This is an individual who organized group protests that not only disrupted college campus classes and harassed.
Like, this shouldn't even be in your mouth right now. Not only did he organize protests that disrupted class, excuse me, shut the fuck up. Speak to the law, Okay, speak to the law. If he broke a law, or if there's some provision of law you're citing, then speak to that. Don't give me this disrupted fucking classes. The fuck out of here. You guys don't even like college. Okay, fuck you.
Harassed Jewish American students and made them feel unsafe on their own college campus, but also distributed pro-Hamas propaganda, flyers with the logo of Hamas. That is what the behavior and activity that this individual engaged.
I really don't like the way that law is structured, that you can theoretically, let's say that tomorrow Hamas comes into Israel and murders 1,000 innocent people. If you're on permanent resident status, if you've got a green card and you go and support Hamas tomorrow, that means you can be deported. But if the next day, let's say a bunch of IDF soldiers go into the Gaza Strip and they murder 1,000 Palestinian people, I can sit here and say, hooray, yes, Israel, and yes for the IDF. But since the IDF isn't a designated terror organization, that's okay. That's wildly stupid to me. The law either needs to be rewritten, or the law as it's written is probably just supposed to be for people that are like in high levels of coordination with international terrorist groups, like taking direction from or resources from. It's probably what it's supposed to be used for, not this bullshit.
And I have those flyers on my desk. They were provided to me by the Department of Homeland Security. I thought about bringing them into this briefing room to share with all of you, but I didn't think it was worth the dignity of this room to bring that pro-Hamas propaganda. But that's what this individual distributed on the campus of Columbia University. And this.
Did you see Hassan comparing himself to Martin Luther King and Bad Empanada to Malcolm X? Shut up. Don't make fun of. Don't say that. There's no way he said that.
Administration is not going to tolerate individuals having the privilege of studying in our country and then siding with pro-terrorist organizations that have killed Americans. We have a zero tolerance policy.
I mean, to be honest, I don't support terrorist supporters in my country, but yeah, you're right. This is the issue that I was kind of talking about yesterday. The issue is that we live in a strange world these days where non-state actors are also functioning sometimes as states. So you're in this very weird environment where you would think of a terrorist group as like a small, like a non-state group that, you know, functions like terrorists. But it's very strange when you have non-state actors like Hezbollah or Hamas, who are like also like governments, right? So it's like if you support the Palestinians in Gaza, you're almost kind of always supporting Hamas in a way. And then you're in a weird world. It's like, okay, I guess it's literally banned to support this state. Like, it's very strange, you know? I don't think that's, that's an antiquated phrasing or law, I think. When you start having terrorist groups that are essentially states as well, it doesn't work, I think.
For siding with terrorists, period. Peter Ducey.
Thank you, Caroline. So you said that the Dow dropping is a period of transition. You're sure nobody here at the White House shorted the Dow?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. But is there any concern here that it's going to be harder to ask certain federal workers to retire if they look at their retirement accounts and they're getting robbed every day?
Well,
ooh, that's a decent question. Also, more immigrants is a larger pool of taxable individuals, which is probably one of the only realistic ways to get budget neutral. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up workers, because that's exactly who President Trump is looking out for with his America First trade policy. And
oh, you're not going to answer the question. Oh, okay. Good one.
Workers to retire if they look at their retirement accounts and they're getting robbed every day.
Well, I'm glad you brought up workers, because that's exactly who President Trump is looking out for with his America First trade policy and his America First economic agenda. And if you look at, there's great indication to be optimistic about where the economy stands. And the American people, investors, CEOs, small business owners, but most importantly workers, should bet on President Trump, because his tariff policies, what he envisions is reciprocity, fair trade practices where American workers are put first and are no longer ripped off by foreign countries all over this world.
President Trump says he's going to buy a Tesla today. Did he buy it? And when is the last time he drove a car?
That's a very good question. I have heard the president remark that he misses being able to drive, that luxury of driving his own vehicle, although the beast is nice, but he is going to be viewing a Tesla that is making its way to the White House complex now, I can confirm.
See, he
perhaps
doesn't
the
drive.
press pool today will have an opportunity to witness
Not
this
like God
very
Emperor
exciting
Biden.
moment later this afternoon. But Tesla is on its way here now, and we'll see if the president likes it when he checks it out.
So they're bringing him a Tesla to look at, and if he likes it, he's just going to buy it.
You know, he's in
my face when my president, who also is part of the largest crypto scam in all of crypto history, is also doing fucking car commercials. He's going to be doing a car commercial as the president of the United States. Car commercials. Kill me.
He's definitely going to buy one, but he'll take a look at it when it gets here later this afternoon.
Full
retail? Yes, full market price. Kelly.
Can we talk about Canada? What is the status of President Trump having a conversation with Mark Carney? We have seen the president use the term governor to refer to Justin Trudeau. Will that moniker also go to Mr. Carney going forward? And is the decision to increase the tariffs, is that based on a specific economic metric that he looked at? Is it impulse? How would you describe his reaction to Canada?
The president has not yet spoken to Mr. Carney, not since I checked, which was just moments ago. But certainly his phone is always open to leaders who wish to speak with him. As for the tariffs, the president made his position on this quite clear with the statement that he put out. And it was a retaliatory statement due to the escalation of rhetoric that we've seen out of Ontario, Canada. The president saw the premier, Doug Ford, make an egregious and insulting comment threatening to shut down electricity for the American people.
By the way, and I know that it doesn't matter that I say this because we live in wacky times. We live in wacky times, okay? I think there's probably, if I'm being honest, there's probably like 4 or 5 things that the president has done so far that are like impeachment worthy. The tariff thing is absolutely impeachment worthy if we had a functioning government. Excuse me, you're trying to rewrite U.S. economic trade policy with the rest of the world on the back of a fake national emergency? No, you're out of here, dude. You got to be, you're gonzo. That's it. That's insane. Why would you? No, we're not doing this. That's bullshit. But we live in a jokeocracy now, okay? Where it's all just memes, so.
For hardworking American families. He made that threat. The president saw that and has an obligation and a responsibility to respond accordingly and represent the interests of the American people. So he has made the decision to add a 25% tariff. So now steel and aluminum tariffs will come into effect tomorrow at the rate of 50%. And our steel and aluminum industries have actually applauded these tariffs because, again, they know it's going to grow their industry here. It's going to allow them to export more steel that is made right here in the United States with American workers.
Egregious and insulting are your words here, but that's what many Canadian leaders have said about the actions President Trump has taken toward Canada. And what do you think the timeline is for speaking to Mr. Carney? Because normally a sitting president speaks to a close ally very quickly when there's new leadership.
Well, the president is, again, responding to the fact that Canada has been ripping off the United States of America and hardworking Americans for decades. If you look at the rates of tariffs across the board that Canadians have been imposing on the American people and our workers.
It's our trade deal! That's our trade deal! That's our trade deal! What do you mean they've been ripping us off for decades? That's your trade deal! That's yours! It's our trade deal! You renegotiated it! What happened?
Here, it is egregious. In fact, I have a handy-dandy chart here that shows not just...
Oh, more pictures. Yeah, the picture president. Hell yeah.
Canada, but the rate of tariffs across the board. If you look at Canada, since you brought it up, American cheese and butter, nearly 300% tariff. You look at India, 150% tariff on American alcohol. You think that's helping Kentucky bourbon be exported into India? I don't think so. 100% tariff on agricultural products from India. Look at Japan, tariffing rice, 700%. President Trump believes in reciprocity, and it is about dang time that we have a president who actually looks out for the interests of American businesses and workers. And all he's asking for at the end of the day are fair and balanced trade practices. And unfortunately, Canada has not been treating us very fairly at all over the past several decades. To the woman in the purple, because I saw you were making a face at my previous answer. So what's going on?
Well, actually, I have a couple of questions. At the core of pro-Palestinian protests on college campuses and elsewhere is a demand to end the war in Gaza, a goal that this administration actually supports and has pursued. So why has this not been acknowledged or highlighted even?
Because these colleges and these protests have again put out Hamas.
For the research inclined, where should we look to understand limitations on POTUS tariff power, Constitution and USMCA? There's a law that was made, I don't remember what it's called, NEA? It might be the National Emergency Act, that basically, what it's supposed to be used for is in times of national security, the president has wide powers to act, which is in line with how we envision our country to operate, with one chief executive who's also the head of our military, right? The idea being that in times of war, in times of conflict, we don't have time to second guess ourselves. Congress is not going to lead a war. You need a general, commander-in-chief, the president, the lead executive to do it. So I think on that broad ideology, more specifically, when it comes to things like national security, so if we're being like invaded by like actual MS-13 gangs, like the president has to have the ability to go down to the border and be like, hey, these guys, they're not allowed in while we figure out what the fuck is going on. Okay? No. All right? But it shouldn't be like, we're going to ban all Muslims from coming into this country while we figure out what the heck is going on. Well, excuse me, hold on. You're not supposed to be doing immigration policy, president. You're just supposed to be using like temporary national emergency powers as like the commander-in-chief, basically. And then same thing with tariffs as well. The president has the ability, if he declares a national emergency, to say, hey, there's an emergency here. I'm also going to tariff these things for a temporary time because I'm trying to protect our country and keep us safe, right? That's why he has to have the fentanyl problem in the north, because that gives him the legal authority extended to him via the NEA, the National Emergencies Act, to enact those tariffs. But obviously, it's clear as day. We can all see he's not actually doing national emergency tariffing. He's doing economic policy by abusing powers from the National Emergency Act, right?
Hamas propaganda. The flyers that have been distributed call for violence. The flyers that have been distributed have the logo of an organization that has held Americans hostage, that murdered innocent babies, that murdered men, women, and children. They are a designated foreign terrorist organization.
Also, just as a quick thing, because Isaac brought up a lot, I just haven't even bothered talking about this in chat. Most of the time on a lot of these tariffs, like it's true for the Canadian one, when people talk about having a... When people talk about like 250% tariffs on dairy and blah, 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 I think what happens is there's some level of import and export that a country will allow that doesn't destroy their local market. So for instance, I don't remember what it is specifically on Canada, but I think it's something where like 40 or 50% of their domestic production or of their domestic consumption has to come from like local producers, because you don't want to lose your entire dairy market. You don't want that to be gone, because that does represent like a threat for a variety of reasons. If there's like a famine or if there's low dairy produce in the US or whatever, you don't want your people to like not have it. So after a certain percentage of goods are imported from another country, then that tariff turns on to protect your local manufacturers. I'm pretty sure this is fairly standard, but I know for sure that this was included as in provisions in the last trade deal that we negotiated with Canada and Mexico, the US, Canada, Mexico trade agreement. So like these are things the United States already knew about. They're not surprising, but it's not like Canada just has a blanket 250% tariff on their dairy market. That's just not true. That's a fucking lie. But
organization, and we are not going to tolerate non-citizens, foreigners who come here on a visa, engaging in such behavior, siding with terrorists. And the Secretary of State reserves the authority to revoke the green card or the visa of an individual who serves as an, actually it says right here, reasonable grounds to believe that the alien's presence or activities in the United States would have potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences to the United States. And I think siding with Hamas makes that.
Won't the bill come due at some point? If you're using the Emergency Act and hanging your hat on fentanyl, for example, if you can't show those numbers, there must be some recourse to file an injunction on further executive orders. You can never injunct executive orders. Executive orders, I don't think are even like real things. An executive order is basically just the president saying like, these are the powers that I already have, and this is like what I'm going to do, and I'm going to kind of like change up a little bit of what I'm doing, but you still have to like follow the law and everything else, basically. The only recourse that you have is Congress is allowed, with a majority, I believe, in both houses, Congress is allowed to fight against a current state of emergency. But I don't know if Congress has ever done that. And I don't even know if the law is written for that to like really happen. Because I think, to make me wrong, but I think that Congress could vote against the emergency on the north and say, sorry, there is no fentanyl emergency, that's bullshit. And then the next day Trump could go, oh, actually, well, there's a moose emergency. There are way too many mooses coming across the border, so I'm going to tariff them now. And then Congress would have to like, wait, hold on. Now they would have to vote to stop that national, and then Trump could just like infinitely do these. So in effect, I don't think you can actually stop it. Yeah. Watch the video when Trump announces he will ban Muslims until they figure out what's going on. The MAGA crowd starts cheering when he says ban Muslims with no further context. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But people forgot about that. Even though that is what he wanted to do. Don't be mistaken. He wanted to just ban all Muslims from coming into the country. And every now and then he still harkens back to like Muslim extremism, even though that's, I don't know what that has to do with anything right now in the United States, but.
Quite clear. Secretary Rubio exercised that authority, and we fully believe that we are going to move forward with more arrests, as President Trump previewed in his statement yesterday. Ed,
yeah, thanks. So are there conversations between the administration and the Canadians going on over this tariff? Because the Ontario Premier says the next step is to cut off electricity to the U.S.
And the president put out a statement after seeing those comments and said that it would be there would be grave consequences imposed on Canada if they think about shutting off electricity for the United States of America and our citizens. And the president is also determined to ensure that we are depending on American electricity, not the electricity production of foreign nations, including our allies in Canada. As for conversations, there is continued correspondence between the president's team, particularly Secretary Lutnick, and the Canadians as well.
In the market reaction, how do you sell to the American people then after they're looking at what's happening in the markets this week and say that the tariff policy long term is something good?
Well, just think about what the tariff policy long term will do for our country. I think many of us probably grew up in small towns. I know at least I did, and the main street in my small town looks a heck of a lot worse than it probably did decades ago before I was alive. At least my parents and grandparents tell me so.
Destiny, the Muslim ban lie has been disproven, just like the very fine people nonsense. The very fine people thing was never disproven. I don't know how you guys were able to rewrite. I mean, congratulations. You guys can rewrite history on video when it's like clearly there. There's a guy who actually does really good analysis on the very fine people lie. Let me see if I can find this again. Hold on. Fuck, I should have saved this. I gotta find this. He's a political commentator, Benjamin something. Fuck! I didn't save it. Somebody link me the Ben Shapiro video. Because Ben Shapiro debunks that bullshit immediately. That, oh no, no. When he said very fine people, he just meant the nice people. Bullshit. No. Destiny, what you're doing now helped Trump win. Thanks for the assist. True. Every single thing helps Trump win. So based. Oh my God. How can you suck a man's dick when he's fucking you in the ass at the exact same time? I didn't even know it was possible. There needs to be research on this. POTUS is spending his day, or am I misunderstanding this? POTUS is spending his day attacking me and Canada. The difference is Canada will eventually cave. I can't tell, is he talking himself up? This is like this is the most masterfully crafted tweet of all time, because he's talking himself up, he's shitting on Canada, and he's commending the president for attacking Canada all at the same time. Is that all happening? And all three of these things are happening simultaneously? Is that what? I can't tell if he's just trying to shit on Canada and build himself up, or he's also supporting Trump's tariffs, or Jesus. Fucking losers.
And I know many Americans feel that same way. What the president envisions for this country is for the United States of America to be a manufacturing superpower.
I don't know if there's a video for the Benny Boy. Oh, no, there is. There's an unlisted Daily Wire video, and it's very, very, very good. Because Shapiro, when he's using his brain for not political propaganda, is decently insightful. It's like Jordan Peterson.
Where there are American factories and businesses owned by Americans producing goods that we are exporting to the rest of the world. Those revenues will stay here. It will increase wages for people here in our great country. It will ensure our national security, and it will boost the morale of the American people to have thriving industries again. Think about Detroit, Michigan. Think about North Carolina, as I mentioned, that used to have a thriving furniture industry that no longer exists because of the globalist trade policies of previous and past administrations. And the American people gave the president a tremendous opportunity to restore American greatness and restore our manufacturing dominance, and he's intent on doing just that. John.
Two questions. First, on the CR, you put up on the screen the president's message to Republicans to support this continuing resolution. Is there outreach to Democrats? Because what we've seen since the beginning of the fiscal year is that in order to get a continuing resolution, you need bipartisan support and you need compromise.
Well, right now, we are focused on House Republicans and on the House, because that's the first.
Yes, true. More, please. More people, please. Why would our country allow another country to supply us with electricity, even for a small area? Who made these decisions and why? It was you, Trump. These are your decisions.
First step, as you know, John. And so the president has engaged in correspondence with House Republicans, whipping votes and getting them to a yes, which I understand has been pretty successful this morning thus far. And so, again, the president is encouraging Republicans especially, but again, as I said, all members of Congress to vote to continue funding this government so we can continue the business of the American people, which elected President Trump to do.
And then with financial markets, we've seen this decline yesterday. We see it today as well. It seems that the read on the president's policies is one in which they do not have confidence in his trade tariffs policy. They do not have confidence in what the president said to Fox News over the weekend, that he didn't rule out the idea of a recession.
Oof, this is a rough crowd right now. And these are like the sycophants. These are the people left who you've like personally approved.
What is your read in terms of the decline that we've seen over the last week and a half in financial markets?
Trump's like, I gotta go live, dude. I can't do this. I gotta go live. I gotta stream. I gotta talk to the people. I need to go live. Somebody get OBS, get the laptop. We got to do a press conference, guys. It's not good. She's not doing a good enough job.
I think there's actually a lot of reason to be confident, and many people do feel confident. Just look at the nearly $2 trillion in private investment that this president has secured. Look at the comments made by the CEO of Apple, one of the biggest companies in this world, who said that he is bullish on the future of American innovation under the leadership of President Trump. Look at CEO confidence. According to the Conference Board measure of CEO confidence, in Q1 2025, under the leadership of this president, it jumped to its highest level in 3 years, from cautious optimism to confident optimism. If you, again, look at the $2 trillion in investments from some of the biggest companies in the world. Look at the jobs report last Friday, as I also cited in my opening opening remarks. Fox Business reported that Trump sees a manufacturing boom in first full jobs report of his second term. Look at the auto jobs that have already poured back into America. We added 9,000 new auto jobs. Those are sticky jobs. Those are good paying jobs. That's 9,000 American families who will now be able to live the American dream because of the policies of this administration. You also look at small business optimism. The NFIB put out a report this morning. Small business optimism.
Man, all those government numbers that we definitely thought were bullshit before, we're really trying to stick to them now. Oh, man.
Continues to be far higher than it ever was under the previous administration. There's a lot of reason to be optimistic. And again, the American people, CEOs and people on Wall Street and on Main Street should bet on this president. He is a deal maker. He is a businessman, and he's doing what's right for our country. He wants to restore wealth to the United States of America. Michael, good to see you.
Hey, Caroline, thank you. Two questions, if I may. Will the administration be providing any relief to states affected by the Ontario power tariff?
Well, the president has made it very clear that Canada would be very wise not to shut off electricity for the American people, and we hope that that does not happen. As for what would happen if that does take place, I'll leave it to the president to make those decisions.
Does President Trump share the Justice Department's concern over rising egg prices and possible collusion of big egg?
Well, we definitely do share the concerns of the American people when it comes to the price of eggs. However, good news, the average cost of a dozen eggs is actually down since Secretary Rollins and President Trump announced their plan. It's down $1.85. So that's good news on the cost of eggs. And as we
Oh my God, this is like a fucking torture dungeon for statistics, okay? We have never tortured numbers this brutally and this hard before. Holy Christ. We were like, this is like fucking, it's like kung fu statistics. It's like, this is the highest it's ever been in 4 decades. And we saw the largest second derivative rate of a rate drop since the last 15 months of automobile manufacturing jobs in Minnesota. And we've seen the consumer confidence has risen since a statement made by $1. It's like, holy shit. It's like the actual matrix of trying to torture stats here to say that there's always a good outlook on every single thing you're talking about. Oh my God.
You know, under the Biden administration, egg prices went up 22%. This is another example of an economic mess that President Trump inherited, and the Secretary of Agriculture and the President are focused on fixing it. Secretary Rollins put out a 4-point plan to address this crisis, and she has been honest and realistic with the American people, as this administration always is. It will take about 3 to 6 months to get the egg supply back to where it should be, but she's focused, and this administration is focused on doing that every day. Karen.
Thanks, Caroline. Just back on the markets, you said that what we're seeing this week.
God, I'm trying to imagine students of the future. They're like trying to watch current news broadcasts and like, so teacher, did Americans eat a lot of eggs, especially? Like, why did that become the one thing that Americans were so heavily fixated on when it comes to price? Is it like the most important food for Americans in the year, whatever the fuck? Like,
on Wall Street is a snapshot of a moment in time. But does the president think he bears any responsibility for the turmoil in the stock market?
No,
look, the president is unwavering.
Excuse me. Responsibility? Fuck no. This is Biden. Hello? Does this lady even know what she's talking about?
In his commitment to restore American manufacturing and global dominance. And I think he doubled down on that this morning with his new statement and the tariffs that will be implemented tomorrow on steel and aluminum.
And he has said recently he's not looking at the market. He said you can't really watch the stock market, but all of the gains since Election Day have been erased in the S&P 500. At what point, how far do stocks have to fall before the president considers it a factor and changes course?
Again, as I just said, the president will look out for Wall Street and for Main Street, just like he did in his first term. And people on Wall Street and Main Street should bet on this president. He's doing what's right for this country. Nick, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you, Caroline. So is the president prepared, like what we saw with Congressman Massey, to pressure other Republican lawmakers into supporting this continuing resolution?
Well, he is very much, as I said, engaged in this process. He's been making calls to lawmakers on Capitol Hill, and I think his statements against Congressman Massey speak for themselves. And I will let the president put out any additional statements if he chooses to, but he fully expects all House Republicans to vote for this continuing resolution.
And just to follow up, can we start to anticipate seeing more of the president weighing in on upcoming 2026 races like we saw this morning?
I'm not sure about that. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to speak about that from this podium. I would check in with our outside political team for guidance on future races and the president's involvement. Elena.
Thank you. I want to ask you about some comments Elon Musk made yesterday. He said that there is $500 to $700 billion in waste and fraud and entitlement spending. He called it, quote, the big one to eliminate. Earlier this month, he also referred to Social Security as a Ponzi scheme. Should Americans expect changes, big changes, to Social Security and Medicare?
President Trump has been unequivocally clear on this. He is going to protect Social Security and Medicare benefits and Medicaid for hardworking Americans who paid into these entitlement programs and deserve those hard-earned benefits. And unfortunately, the mainstream media has taken Mr. Musk out of context. I saw a Bloomberg headline that our team actually worked on getting updated and fixed because it was so wrong. And it took Mr. Musk out of context. What he was specifically referring to cutting was the waste and the fraud and abuse that does.
Oh, the waste, fraud, and abuse. Oh, Kenny Becker said, what the hell is DGG? We go by the name DDGG. We are a sex harassment cult that is also responsible for destroying the lives of every single person that we come across on the internet that we don't like in the most illegal ways possible, constantly. Our number one targets are anybody that supports Palestine or leftism or Hassan. We are the only reason why socialism does not exist yet in the United States also. Be careful.
Exist in these programs. According to an IG report from the Social Security Administration, there's more than $70 billion of fraud in the Social Security program alone that we know of. And so the president will continue to protect these programs.
Wait, what?
Abuse that does exist in these programs. According to an IG report from the Social Security Administration, there's more than $70 billion of fraud in the Social Security program alone.
I don't even think that report said fraud. I think the report just said those were payments that went out that weren't supposed to, and then I think they're able to recover. It's either 40% or 60% of them. I might have inverted, but I don't know if it's necessarily fraud. Like for instance, back a long time ago when I did Social Security fraud one time, like for instance, my grandma died, and then I don't know if she died on like the 30th or something, but Social Security paid out like one more payment to her account, but then they rescinded it like 3 days later. I don't know how those fuckers found out. But that would probably be an example of like a payment that went out that wasn't supposed to. But it's not because like my grandma was committing Social Security fraud and they were able to recover it. So.
Loan that we know of. And so the president will continue to protect these programs for hardworking Americans, and actually cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse out of these programs will protect it for hardworking Americans.
Okay, respectfully, he said around $500 to $700 billion. There's no evidence to claim that. And also, if that is the case, that would represent...
Damn. $500, $700 billion. With all due respect, ma'am, that's not what he said, bitch. That's what she just said. She said, that's not what he said. You know that, right?
More than a third of what Social Security paid out last year, maybe 20% of Social Security and Medicare.
Again,
combined.
if you read his full quote, he said, we think. So it's an estimate based on...
Like, I wish I lived in this environment. This is what Hassan operates in. This is what Trump operates in. Like, well, excuse me. We said we think, okay? We said we think, all right? What do you want me to... Well, you want me to have an actual fucking number for you? Come on, lady.
$1 billion. There's no evidence to claim that. And also, if that is the case, that would represent more than a third of what Social Security paid out.
This might be one of my favorite 2025 quotes so far. We think. We said we think.
Last year, maybe 20% of Social Security and Medicare.
Again,
combined.
if you read his full quote, he said, we think. So it's an estimate based on what he's seen. He's not saying definitively. He's saying that's what Doge suspects and thinks. And that's exactly why Doge was created, to ensure that we are investigating the fraudulent spending, the wasteful abuse across our federal government. And I would remind everybody in this room that 77% of the American people support this effort by Elon Musk and Doge to identify such waste, fraud, and abuse. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline.
You're welcome.
True. Absolutely true. After I give advice, I always end my sentence with, I don't know though. So you can never say I ruined your life. This is like the no homo of life advice, okay? I don't know, man. If I was you, I would do this, or, you know, maybe you should, but I don't know, man. Good luck. I'm just a politics streamer. I'm just a little YouTuber. What do you want me to say?
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious for why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are...
Oh, we're still doing the little cute thing where we don't know what a tariff is? Is that what we're doing?
A tax cut for the American people, and the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts, as you know. He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, and the...
Oh, it's a tax cut somehow. Oh, so when the price of stuff goes up, I'm saving money somehow. What? Hello?
President is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits.
Yeah, we don't have any of that yet, by the way. Tell me more about how tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, though. I want to hear that one again. That was I like that one.
He's committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on...
Oh, he's like, fuck this job. He's like, I don't want to come here anymore. I'm gonna get my ass banned from the press room.
Of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginting, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that...
Insulting that you dare test Queen, I don't even know her name, her knowledge on economics when she said that tariffs are actually a tax cut. Why would you dare test her on that?
This president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Mary, go ahead.
Oh, and it's the AP banned from the Oval Office. They're about to be banned from the fucking press room. I don't know what this room is called. They're going to get banned from everything. Get out of here. Damn.
Caroline, I have two of those, okay?
The first one was on Russia, Ukraine. I know Special Envoy Witkoff said yesterday that Zelensky apologized in his letter to Trump. Can you share any more about that letter and what else might be interesting from it that we don't know?
Yes, the president did reference that letter, as you're saying, in his joint address to Congress. And I do have an update. As you know, Secretary of State Rubio and our...
Why did the Democrats vote against no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security? There hasn't even been a vote on that, number one. Number two, what? That's stupid. Why would you not tax tips? And why would you not tax overtime? They're wages. Of course you would tax these. Why would you not tax your wages? Hello? And for Social Security, I mean, I think the argument would probably be you're paying into Social Security and the income's not taxed when it goes in, so it would be taxed when it comes out, right?
Our National Security Advisor, Mike Waltz, have been negotiating with the Ukrainians today in Saudi. They will be providing a full readout of that meeting very soon. But I can assure you and everybody here and the American people that the news we've received from that meeting throughout the day and the president has been briefed on.
I still don't believe she's 27. Wait, this person is 27 years old?
Is positive. This meeting has been productive. I will let Secretary of State Rubio and our National Security Advisor speak to the specifics of what has taken place today when they are ready to do so when the meeting concludes. Lindsay, go ahead.
The president has said this is the first of many arrests like this. Does the administration have a rough estimate of how many arrests you're planning to make similar?
I don't have an estimate.
Would you support a way to opt out of Social Security if they tax you on the back end? I don't know if anybody is honest about Social Security. I mean, I feel like Democrats are a little honest, although they try to be kind about it. But the reality is, the reason why Social Security exists is because the average person is too retarded to save their money. But full stop. That is the reason why Social Security exists. And it's the reason why it should exist and it shouldn't go anywhere. Because the average person is too much of an irresponsible dipshit to actually put away money for retirement. And then when they do retire and then they have no money and they go homeless and crazy and society's fucked as a result, then we all have to like pick up the slack. So I don't believe you should be able to opt out of Social Security because I believe people who are opting out of Social Security would make very, very bad decisions if they had the ability to do so. That's my personal view on it.
Sure, good to see you.
Secretary, many are concerned about the validity of President Biden's official actions and also his pardons of the possible criminal actions of individuals such as his family members and Liz Cheney, as information is emerging that many of his official actions were auto-signed, possibly even the pardons and without his knowledge or consent. Does the White House have any information
Thank
available?
God we got our Newsmax and OAN, our faithful, loyal propaganda reporters in here to ask the real questions. Thank you. Yes, ask more about Biden.
Currently, that Biden was actually the one that approved and signed those pardons? And second question, will the DOJ investigate whether President Biden's cognitive decline allowed unelected staff to push through radical policy and pardons without his known approval?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I can check in with our folks here who may know the answer to that question and get back to you.